From now on, it is canon that I have 4 right hands. That's it. Now you know. Well, hello there, I'm Detroit. Today we'll be watching the drawing process for a new artwork that I haven't named yet. I used a cross fountain pen with black ink and an A4 sheet of Bristol paper. Only A4 is quite large and I don't have a lot of time on my hands today. Rather than spending 2 hours and 30 minutes on a drawing, why couldn't I spend only a quarter of that and make the same drawing? This is a secret I've been keeping for a long time. Not quite all my life, but almost. Guys, I have 4 right hands. And 3 left hands, but they don't matter. They're dumb and useless and I can't draw with them. So, for lack of time today, I'm using all of my right hands to draw simultaneously. I also have very long arms, which allow me to reach the other side of the paper without blocking the view from my camera. Stop it! You can't access this video unless you subscribe to me, so do it now. Okay, I tricked you. You didn't have to subscribe, but that really helps me, so thank you. Turns out, it was good thinking on my part to buy 3 fountain pens exactly identical to the one I already own, right? Or else it would have been impossible for me to doodle like this. It's also convenient that I have 4 right hands because I had decided on the title of the drawing before even attempting it. If I didn't have 4 hands, that would have been simply madness on my part. Let's go through the process of if I didn't have 4 hands. First of all, I would have needed to rotate the camera for each quarter of the drawing. Or at least twice, for horizontal and vertical, and then I could have rotated it further in Premiere Pro. I would also have needed to rotate the drawing pad by 90 degrees each quarter of the drawing, which is stupid. I may have 7 hands, but I only have 2 eyes and 1 brain. I can't keep up on where each 4th end, so I would have had to separate the paper into 4 corners in the first place. I would probably have traced a thin line with pencil in a way that wouldn't show on camera. But it's a good thing that I didn't, right? Without the 4 hands, boy, it would have been a mess to edit. Obviously because I would have known from the beginning that the angle wouldn't have been perfect each time. And the light changes a lot over the course of a day, so obviously the 4 video feeds would have needed adjustments in terms of contrast and luminosity and warmth that I definitely don't know how to do in an editing software. No, it was the right call to use my very real 4 hands to do that. Only a dummy would have tried this with just 1 hand. Okay, but at this point I can hear you scream in front of your computer. But Detroit, how come you have a not normal number of hands? Don't worry, I'm getting to it. I was born with no hands, at all. I just had shoulders. Just 2 shoulders, by the way. I know you were dying to know. And then, ever since my birth, I've had an arm grow out each year until I was 7. I have to say, I don't know what twist of fate made that happen, but it's really effed up that for the first 4 years I only had right hands growing out of my stumpy arms. And then the left hands grew until I was 7, leaving me with 4 right and 3 left hands. A good thing you would probably like to hear is that I can draw with all of my right hands. I mean, it's pretty obvious considering the video you're watching. The left hands, however, that's a different story. They are only useful to hold the paper down while I draw with the others. I need them at least for that, because the tiny corner tape thingies are pretty much useless once the ink makes the paper wobble. I have found no good way to hold the paper still along the entire surface when I draw. Without damaging the paper, I mean. I don't want to pin it down or tape the underside. Before preparing for this drawing, I actually had to undergo intense training. Just for what you're seeing. You see, my first right hand is the one you actually see most of the time without knowing it. It's the one I used for the top left corner. It's a good steady hand with which I can draw patterns like that pretty reliably. The second hand, however, I used mostly when I want to draw circles. It's good at drawing circles, that's all, so I had to train it. The third hand pretty much only fills stuff. I had to fight it a lot in order to draw this piece because the motion of filling a zone with ink and tracing thin lines are really different. Out of my 4 right hands, it's the one I like the least, if I had to pick. The fourth and last right hand usually stays in my pocket when I draw with ink. I only take it out when I draw digitally. Last Sunday's video, for example, the giant robot, was made entirely almost with the fourth hand. Sometimes people look at me weird in the street, you know? But I don't think it's because of the 7 arms and hands. I think people tend to notice me because my face is entirely two-dimensional. The rest of my body is good though. Well, except my feet, but that's not for the internet to know. It's really striking when I'm out in the street. I have a normal body, and 3 plus 4, that's 7 arms, and then I'm 2D above the shoulders. Right above the color of my shirt, actually. Then I'm very pale with dark hair and I can only look up in the distance. But you already know that. You can see me at the bottom of the screen all the time. That's not the weirdest thing about me, you know? No, it's not the feet. I told you, that's not public information that I can disclose. It's my fingernails. Sometimes I paint them for videos, especially when my habit of biting my nails is strong and I'm ashamed of the look of my hands, so it helps distract you from the stubby, knacky balls that are my fingertips. No, the weird thing is that I actually have tiny black holes in each of the nails of my right hands, except one. This is the reason the light gets distorted in every quarter of this drawing, and that my hands appear to be cut sometimes when they get close to each other. The black holes blend together and suck the light in around my hands in a square shape. This is why the video looks like just bad editing, but it's actually high-level physics right there. To be honest, I didn't expect the ambient light to change this much between each of the 4 corners. The thing is, with my drawing and recording setup, I don't have very good lighting. First of all, I rely a lot on my large windows. But then the quality of the light depends on the sun and the clouds. I also have a lamp right next to my desk with an overhead white light bulb. Around it is some sort of translucent white satellite dish, which is actually pretty good at diffusing the light. With it, there's barely any shadows while keeping a good amount of luminosity, but it's not enough for the camera I use, especially at night. The other part of the same lamp is much smaller and I can direct it in any direction I want, but it has a yellow light bulb. It's warm and nice to the eyes when I'm working on something else, and during the evenings, but not really for drawing. And also it's really strong. The thing though, I really don't want to change the light bulb because it fits my needs for everything, except drawing. But I don't want a white light because it would ruin my eyes every night. The compromise I found to the very directional yellow light was to tape a piece of translucent paper on it. The kind that you use to transfer pencil writing from a page to another. It helps diffuse the light a bit and attenuates the strength of the yellow light. I actually went onto Amazon and stuff to look at lights I could use for my drawing setup, but they are either shitty or too big. Since my desk is like half of my apartment already, I don't want a large white square floating around and taking more space. I love drawing, but I don't have the space for such a large thing in the middle of my room. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm afraid the lighting in my drawing videos will remain bad for a while. Unless you have some tips and tricks to share with me in the comments, or by DMing me on my social media linked in the description. The second problem with this video is definitely the angles between each part. I tried my best to rotate the green drawing pad and have it in the exact same position relative to the camera, but that only worked out partially. For the hands coming out the side, I had to rotate the camera by 90 degrees and that messed up the angle. One side of the paper was smaller than the other due to perspective and despite my best efforts. When I tried to combine them all in Premiere Pro, I was really close to pulling my hair a few times. There was no way to make my arms appear on each 4 sides, because I couldn't align all the corners with each other. Even tweaking the perspectives, I couldn't make it work. And the video feed cropped at different places, so my hand would have been floating anyway. That's just a practice run, okay? I think next time I want to do a little stunt like that, I'm going to limit myself to 2 hands. With 2 hands, I'm pretty confident I can make it work. 4 was simply too much. So you know what, stay tuned for the future when I'll do that eventually. Like, subscribe, okay? You know what, before I end this video, can you do something for me? I need you to click like with your first hand, then go down in the comments and leave one there with your second and third hands, and then you can subscribe using the fourth. For the fifth, sixth and seventh hand, they can help you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and also check my Reddit posts, okay? Here is the final drawing, thankfully taken from a single angle with uniform lighting. Not that it matters because I cleaned it through Photoshop. It was hard but fun for me, so I really hope you enjoyed this video process. If you want, there's a plethora of other videos just like that in the playlist in the end screen. Go and have a watch if you want. I'll see you soon. Bye!